and I am a CRA Homebuyer Specialist Manager.
Okay, Tina, let us know. Thank you. Next up, we have Tiara Lagarde.
Yes,
Tiara, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
absolutely. So I am Tiara Lagarde here with BMO Financial Group as well. I am a CRA mortgage banker here. I specialize in helping our first-time buyers, repeat buyers, anything down payment assistance or any sort of special programs or special structuring. That's my specialty for the last 13 years.
Love it. And then last but certainly not least, we have Jacob Handelman, the real estate attorney, all things legal.
All things legal.
You want to introduce yourself, Jacob?
Hello, I am Jacob Handelman. Indeed, I am an attorney and a realtist. And I've been an attorney for only about 28 years, but the vast majority of that time I prosecuted for the city of Chicago. And now I have a small single attorney practice.
Love it. Then we have in the corner, she's always with us. Shout out to our membership chair that has been the membership chair. Now she's like the advisory board. Okay. We love her, Madam Millie Reyes Williams. Madam Millie, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you, Madam First VP. Hello, my name is Millie Reyes Williams. I'm also with BMO. I am a relationship manager and I have the pleasure of working with these ladies and others. Our concentration again with CRA is community reinvestment. We look at down payment assistance and trying to see what we can do is to help Black home ownership and home ownership in general. So I am also a realtist, as they said, and I'm so excited to be here. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Oh my goodness. So you are among some experts in the real estate industry. We want to jump right in with the home buying process. So we get a lot of new questions or frequently asked questions going through the home buying process. And Mylene, you may have these questions as well. So when you receive a new potential buyer, they're very anxious, right? They've had conversations with their sister, cousin, auntie that purchased back in the 80s, right? And they're concerned about the process. What does that look like? So think of me as a brand new buyer. I'm interested in purchasing and I'm coming to you because I was referred to you. What would be the first step?
So for me, the first thing that I want to do is, because I've been a first time buyer before, so I know how that anxiousness, that process works and that fear of not knowing how this works. The first thing that I typically do is schedule a consultation with them.
Love it.
We're either going to go to lunch or breakfast or Starbucks or something like that. I want you completely comfortable and I want to sit down with you. I want to discuss your goals. I want to discuss your fears and I want to make sure that you're educated on what the process looks like moving forward.
Okay. So then you have them get pre-approved or get them over to one of your lenders, right?
Absolutely.
With the pre-approval process.
Absolutely. So if the buyer is not already pre-approved, I typically will ask some pre-screening questions just to see, what we look like.
Okay.
And I'll then refer you to a lender and they'll get the process started from there.
Amazing. So now we're going to the lender. So Tiara is the lender. So we've spoken with the agent. They received the brand new potential buyer. Now we get them over to Tiara. She's the expert in lending. And when you receive a brand new home buyer, what's that conversation like?
That conversation is a getting to know you conversation.
Okay.
I want you to be comfortable telling me all the uncomfortable things. It is my job to filter what we present to the underwriter. So seriously, the getting to know you part, that is super, super, super important. We're going over income, we're going over assets, we're going over credit, letting you know what those qualifications consist of so that you feel comfortable moving forward with that credit pool prior to. So you're not finding out later, you should have had this or you should have had that.
Right.
So you kind of know up front what's needed from you. Once we get you approved, we're going over it. We're going over what that looks like, what that monthly payment consists of. Is that going to be your maximum monthly payment? What I've estimated for property taxes so that as you're with your real estate agent, you guys can keep in mind that purchase price along with what those property taxes look like. We're also going over what's potentially going to be needed from you at closing so that you can negotiate properly. Are you going to be asking the seller for a credit in your offer? So I want you to know all those things up front so that you can shop properly with your real estate agent. I do send out an email to both you and your agent that consists of your letter, along with the breakdown of the payment,
Love it.
what assistance you were approved for, what's the estimated cash to close, those estimated taxes, so that you guys know everything needed so that your shopping journey can be as seamless as possible.
Thank you. And I love what you said with the breakdown. Right
Mhm.
now, let's talk about some programs for first time buyers, because BMO has some super duper exclusive programs for the Black community. So if you want to share, just give them a little taste of what you receive from BMO.
It's a whole meal, y'all. So right now, BMO for the state of Illinois, we have available up to $29,500.
Wait a minute, $29,500?
That can be layered together.
Okay.
Different programs that can be layered together that total up to $29,500 for the entire state of Illinois.
So what's the credit? Like, what does my credit need to look like? Because my cousin told me I need to have at least a I gotta have a 720 so that I can get the best interest rates, because the rates is 27% right now.
Okay.
Tell everyone is my minimum credit score is a 580. However, if
Wait a
you
minute,
want
you're
to-
just not gonna slide over that. 580 for
580
credit.
also,
Do y'all hear this?
580.
Okay.
If you want to qualify for the maximum amount of assistance available, I'd say have it with the 640. Because one of the programs that is inside of this 29,500 has a credit score threshold of 640. So,
So 580 gets you in conversation for purchasing.
yeah,
But if you're interested in these down payment assistance, then you need a 640.
just for one of the programs that's
Okay.
included in the 29,500, there's still assistance available if you're my 580 customer.
Really?
Also, in addition to this 29,500, I have another $15,000 available just for the south suburbs or select cities. So this is a total available of $44,500.
I'm gonna fall out this ship.
I know what you're talking.
44,500. I'm me as a first time buyer.
Mhm.
What can I purchase with 44,500? Is it single family townhome up to 3 units? What can I get?
So some of these programs have a maximum number of units of 2.
Okay.
So you can still purchase a multifamily home where you're making a little money by renting out one of the units and you're living in the other. That's still possible with all of this money.
Wow.
When you get into the 3 and 4 units, some of the, not all of it, some of the money is not for you.
Okay. That's honest.
Keep in mind, this is for the purchase of your primary residence.
Gotcha.
This cannot be your investment property unless it's both, meaning I'm renting one and living in the other.
Okay.
That 2 unit we talked about.
Okay.
The other thing I want to mention is single family home.
Mhm.
We said duplex or 2 unit, however we like to call it, depending on what city you're in.
Okay.
We're talking about condos, we're talking about townhomes. Yeah,
Wow.
2-unit condo?
2 unit building, so a 2 flat. I
Okay.
think we call it a 2 flat.
I got a question. That sheet that you have, we don't have that.
Oh, let me
You
know.
don't?
I'll get it.
It's in the blue bag.
It's in
It's in the
your
blue
bag.
bag. I just got 2 of them in there. Maybe I checked them out.
Okay.
Here's a whole set for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm gonna take this top one.
Okay, keep it
Thank
going.
you.
We get excited about
I
all this
know.
money. So
Yeah,
this is
definitely.
down payment assistance and grants. Like, do I have to pay it back? Like, what's the stipulations on this?
Each grant has its own special stipulation.
Okay.
So once you're going through that pre-qualification stage or that pre-approval stage where we talked about me getting you your approval letter, breaking it down. So once we in that process, I'm gonna break down whatever grants you were approved for, I'm gonna break down for you what those requirements are.
Oh.
Some of the grants require that you just live in the property for a certain amount of time. Some of
Okay.
them do require it to be paid back if you were to sell the home. Every grant has its own caveats of what it requires of you, but I will definitely go over with you which grants you were approved for and what the requirements are of you.
So it mainly just depends on the buyer.
Yeah.
And each buyer is not created equal.
Not all
Right?
buyers are
Not all buyers are created equal. So now I've had the conversation with my lien, then I go over here to Tiara. She told me I can get approved for all of this money, right? So I'm approved, let's say 350,000 taxes, 5,000 and under.
Mhm.
So once the pre-approval hits, I go back over to my lien, right? My lien is going to share with me which areas
Mhm.
or based on the property that I'm interested in, I'll share with you which areas.
Right.
Based on the mortgage amount that I'm able to pay or that I'm
Right.
willing to pay, and then we're gonna go shopping.
Pretty much. So once you get your pre-approval from Sierra,
Okay.
Sierra, as she advised, it's very important to know what the taxes are. And from there, I'll pretty much identify the areas you're interested in.
Yeah.
I'll look into what the taxes are in those areas. And then from there, we can kind of determine the platform as to what we qualify for.
Okay.
Then we'll do a consultation. Further in the consultation, we'll discuss, okay, what does the ideal home look like for you,
Yeah.
right? How many bedrooms do you need? How many do you want? How many do you need,
Right.
right?
What's the must have?
Right, well, what do we have to have? We're gonna go with what you, of course, we're gonna always prioritize what you want, but if worst case scenario, I need to know what you need, right?
Yeah.
We'll then look into, okay, how many bathrooms do you need? What does the ideal home look like for you? And from there, we'll develop a plan together and we'll get out and start searching. Once we identify a home,
Yep.
the next step is, say, we looked at 100,000 50 homes, right? We identify a home, we submit an offer on it.
Yep.
I'll always check in with the lender before
Yes.
submitting an offer on a home.
Yep.
Cause I wanna definitely make sure these numbers work. I wanna make sure the taxes are okay. She gives me the green light. We determine what we're gonna offer on the property. The offer is accepted.
Mhm.
The next step is we'll get your
Now,
attorney involved.
Before we go into the attorney, I had a question. Well, I
Mhm.
wanted to clarify. How do we determine what offer we need to submit for the property?
So there's a lot of different things that you can look into, right, to determine the offer. For example, I always educate my buyers on what the market is, right? So that's important to know, because if you're in a seller's market, we may not have the luxury to offer $30,000 less than asking price.
Correct.
Because, for example, we'll take the market that we're in now. It kind of is a seller's market. We're kind of creeping back to that multiple offer phase, right?
Right,
So if we see a property that's been on the market one day, I may not permit my clients to offer 10 or 15,000 under asking price.
Right.
And it also depends on the need, right? Are we getting down payment assistance? Do we need to ask for a credit? How much of a credit do we need to make this work?
Right.
Because whatever we ask for in credit, it comes off of the amount that we're offering. So I take that into consideration. I take how long the property's been sitting on the market. Now, if the property been sitting on the market a little bit, we might be able to pull it.
And you just kind of look at the comps.
Correct. And
You
we'll look
look
at the
into
comps
the-
as well. Correct.
And the comparative market analysis, the
Yeah.
CMA. So we say comps all the time, so forgive me for the jargon. It was a comparative market analysis. Looks like, do we have?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go for
So
it.
is it only houses that's already been rehabbed? Is it possible it's something that maybe need a little work, like maybe?
I can take that question.
Go for it.
So when we talk about down payment assistance and closing cost assistance, it is meant to help you purchase a move-in ready home. If you are interested in the rehab and repair programs, you got to be prepared to have your own money. So you're kind of choosing, hey, do I want a project to work on and I'm invested in that, meaning I got my own down payment and closing costs? Or do we want to move in ready home and the bank is assisting me with purchasing it with all this money?
I imagine that some of these, I mean, move-in ready properties can be fixed up a little bit. Someone can fix up the kitchen a little bit to their
You
liking.
can fix up
You
anything.
can
I'm
always change it.
fixing things all day in my house and it's considered move-in ready.
But if you
But
use
these
other
grants
people's money, for the
Cannot
down-
be used
then
for
you
that
can use
purpose.
your own money.
To do the
Yeah.
fixing up or the painting or the whatever else you want to do.
Gotcha, we had a question.
So
Mhm.
just what do you have to be considered to be a first time buyer? Let's say if you own a home already,
Good question.
how long, like, let's say if you're interested in moving, let's say, or move out to the suburbs, like, say you live in Two Rock, move out to the suburbs. Say if you own a home for maybe 10 years. Do you have to sell that home in order to qualify for any, let's say you own it, not rental property, you can give it to somebody, or if you wanted to, or whatever, just to move to a better neighborhood.
I want to hit 2 points with your question. First point is this money, not all of it requires that you're a first time buyer.
What's
So
considered
the
the first time?
requirement is that you're purchasing your primary residence.
Love it.
Now, the second point, because you asked, what do we consider a first time buyer? A first time buyer is someone who has not had any ownership interest in any property within the last 3 years.
Repeat it one more time.
Yes, the second part.
One more time. I know we're gonna get some more questions on that. What is considered a first time
A
buyer?
first time buyer is someone who has not had any ownership interest. You're not on any deeds, you're not on any titles of any
Ownership
homes within the
interest,
last
got it.
3 years.
Ownership in the
That's it,
last
only
few
3
years.
years.
Only
3 years.
3 years.
And you
Okay.
consider new.
Love it.
Consider
I love
first time
it.
buyer.
The key to me was deed.
Mhm.
You said deed, because I live in a co-op. So I pay carrying charges. Yes, I own a unit that I live in, and when I go to move, I have to sell it. I will call my lady,
Mhm.
and
So-
she can sell it for me, or I can do it on my own.
Want to make a point on co-ops, because this is a huge thing in Chicago.
Okay.
You do not own that unit.
Got it.
You own a percentage of
Right.
a company that owns that
Thank
unit.
you. Right, got it.
You are a first time buyer.
Got it.
Hey,
And I'm good.
I learned that one.
Okay.
And you get a 2 unit.
Yes,
Yes,
that's my next
okay.
goal.
Are there any income requirements for these first time home buyers? Let's say somebody makes $200,000-300,000.
Some of the
Yeah.
programs
Right.
have, and some of the programs have income restrictions, some of them don't.
Okay,
So again, during that approval stage is when we're gonna identify, because I'm gonna have your income in front of me, I'm gonna have your credit in front of me, I'm gonna have assets in front of me, I'm gonna have all these things in front of me that's gonna help me narrow down which programs you fit into.
Got it.
And when we say restrictions, do we mean highs and lows? We gotta make at least this much, but not as much as this.
We
Is it-
need maximum
Maximum, okay.
income you can make for a
Okay.
certain grant, yeah.
Love it. See, I was like.
Yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So we were with the agent, we were pre-approved, now we back with the agent, we see something that we love, now we're getting ready to go under contract. Share with us, what does under contract look like?
So going under contract is when that seller has executed the contract and they say, hey, we are going to accept this offer for you, right? The contract gives you a 5-day inspection contingency. So the next step would be, I would tell you, hey, we need to get a licensed inspector out and we need to get this property inspected.
Got it.
And from there, the inspector, they'll go in, they'll do their due diligence in terms of what they deem the condition of the property is. You'll get a report from that.
Mhm.
And with that report, you can then identify what you want the seller to correct, or if you even want to move forward with the property.
Now with the home inspection, and thank you so much for
Mhm.
for that, Marlene. It's a good faith deposit that needs to accompany that
I'm
offer.
sorry, yep, I
So-
skipped,
No,
I
no
jumped
problem.
ahead.
No problem. It's a good faith deposit that accompanies that.
Yes.
That offer, that contract to the seller. Share with us what that looks like.
Absolutely. That's called earnest money. And earnest money, the best way that I describe earnest money is almost like when you're renting a property and you're doing a rental deposit, right? But it's a good faith payment to the seller, letting them know, hey, I'm serious about making this purchase, right? Earnest money is optional, but I always tell my clients, if you're serious about the property, the amount of earnest money you put up, it will give us a better opportunity to get an offer.
So I can bring cash, like with the offer for
Well,
earnest
no,
money?
you can't
Oh,
bring cash. You can't bring.
what does that payment look like?
You would have to have certified, right? And the earnest money can vary. There's no set amount, right? Typically, most people will do 1% of the property, or a lot of people will just do a standard $1,000, but it's up to you.
Okay.
And that's another thing that we'll talk about once we get in the phase of submitting an offer. We'll discuss
Love it.
what that looks like and what you're comfortable with submitting.
Okay, so we have the home inspection completed,
Mhm.
earnest money has been
I know
submitted.
we both wanted to jump in.
Go ahead, Tina. Go ahead, Tina.
I
So
want her to jump.
one thing that I do want to, and Tiara's gonna get more into, although you're getting this $29,000 or even up to $44,000, you still have to have some skin in the game.
Yes.
You have to. There is no such thing. There can be a such thing as none of your own money in the transaction. There is a possibility for that, but not for all of the programs. One thing that I, again, and I'm gonna put it up to you because I know I both of our feet. Keep in mind that if you are working with a program that has what's called a minimum borrower investment,
Okay,
that means those funds have to come from the borrower.
got it.
So it's not like Johnny can give me $1,000, I go get a cashier's check, I give it to Marlene, and now that's my earnest money. Because a lender's gonna wanna know, where did that earnest money come from?
The source.
And if we can't source that earnest money, you're not getting credit for the earnest money. So now you have $100,000 property, you need 1%, which is $1,000. You're getting 29,000, so I don't need any other funds.
Wow,
But now I can't use that $1,000 because it did not come from me.
good.
So it's very important that when you're starting this process, you're working with your realtors, you're working with your lender, because lenders are gonna analyze bank statements. And when there are large deposits in bank statements and you can't tell us where that money came from, you can have $100,000 in the bank, and we're gonna subtract out the entire $100,000 from your bank account.
Okay.
And now where's this 1% coming from now? So it's very important that you don't just jump into the situation or the buying a home. Don't just jump in. You want to put people in your corner that are experts at what they do. I understand mama bought a house and your brother bought a house and cousin bought a house. And
13 years ago.
everybody is
13 years
in
ago.
your ear about how they purchased the house.
They said no money down.
I didn't have to put nothing down.
Do not care if it was last month.
Yep.
The program they were approved for may not be the program you were approved for. What they had to do may not be what you have to do.
Nobody's created equal.
Their credit.
I'd love to hear the round table stories about what you were able to do and what your experience was. However, your sister is a nurse. She's not a lender.
Right. That's good. That's good.
Make sure, and I'm not saying ignore sister,
Right.
but just make sure as you're taking in all these different stories and you're taking in all this different advice, you still come to the professional
Yes.
that is assisting you with your purchase and your very unique situation. We said it earlier, not every buyer is created equally.
On average, how far in advance of when someone wants to buy, would you suggest they talk to the broker or the lender?
I would say around 90 days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because that gives you time to complete home buyer education. That's typically what I like to be my first step when I'm advising someone. However, we all start our journey different.
Yep.
Look, she may be your cousin and you know she's a realtor, so you went to her first.
Right.
I may be your sister and I'm a lender and you may have come to me first.
Right.
So we all show up in different places first. But what we want to be sure is that you guys are getting the proper education, you're getting the proper tools, you're getting your proper team in place, because this team is gonna be your team forever.
It's a team.
When you're ready to sell it and move on to the next place. This is your team, that HUD approved counseling agency that's gonna provide your home buyer education that's required for these programs.
Right.
They are gonna be there to tell you if it's some new energy efficient window rent available, now that you're in your home. You want to keep in touch with your team because you never know when you're gonna need them again, or when you wanna refer your kids to them or
Yes.
family members. So keep it in mind, guys, as you are interviewing us, because we work for you.
Correct.
When you buy your home, you feel comfortable working with us. You understand how we talk, our lingo or whatever that may consist of. Our schedules kind of match up. I'm not available when you're at work, or, make sure you keep these things in mind as you're shopping around for your team, because it matters, it's important. And
You have to trust us.
you do.
I love it. I love it. Oh, we got a question. Okay.
Can we go back to the home buyers education and the HUD? approved- The HUD, the part.
Certified.
Her certified, okay.
So there are HUD approved counseling agencies all over the world, honestly. Your lender will give you a list of 10 of them. We're actually required to, just so you know who's
Okay.
in your neighborhood, who's
Okay.
there to assist you. But these agencies provide what's called home buyer education. Most of these grants, well, actually, all of these grants require that you take a home buyer education.
You gotta have a
class. It's
certificate,
not
you
a-
have a certificate or
Yep.
something.
It's not gonna be a
Okay.
waste of time. You can actually do that now. It's good for 1 year.
Good.
Just
Right,
forget
there we go.
that.
Ah,
Ask
good.
questions.
Yeah.
It's good for 1 year. So even if you want to take it now, if you know this isn't in your future for the next 6 months, it's okay, get it
Yeah.
out of the way. You're gonna need it anyway.
Right.
But take in that education. It's gonna be a panel similar to this one that's there to talk to you guys. A real estate agent, a lender, an attorney, an inspector. You're gonna have all these people there letting you know what their process looks like, what to expect. I don't know about you guys, but getting an inspection, that's not something I'm familiar with. I don't know if somebody's getting over on me or not.
You got a team.
Exactly.
You got a team, got it.
Got your team.
You got a team.
But thank you so much for sharing that. Listen, Tina and Tiara, they like a dynamic duo over here.
They are.
Did you have something you want to add?
I did want to add,
Okay.
again, because we have Tina here, and I want to say again, at BMO, we're so excited because her role is unique. And I don't think any bank has her role. So I really want Tina to explain what she does and how she does it. And she's growing her team and being a manager, but they made this role for her.
Wait, forgive me, Tina.
No, I'm telling you.
Let me make sure that you're introduced properly. You share your role, okay?
I want her to share her role, because it's before we get to the closing. Before we get to
Before
the
we
closing.
get to the attorney review period.
Well, yeah, right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Okay. I started my career at BMO as a CRA mortgage banker, like Tiara's role.
So what is CRA? What is that?
It's community reinvestment.
Okay.
That's what CRA stands for. But a CRA mortgage banker typically works with first-time home buyers and borrowers that qualify for down payment assistance. So their role is can they originate a jumbo loan, you know, a $1 million loan or $500,000 loan? Yes. But the CRA role is to work with borrowers, first-time home buyers that qualify for this down payment assistance, because as someone said, there are income limitations for these programs. But the job is to make sure that if there is a program available that they qualify for, they're actually introduced to that grant. Now, do they have to use the grant? Absolutely not. But the goal is to let them know that there are programs available. These are your options, and select what you want to do. You may have a borrower that I'm only going to be here for 5 years, you know, and then my position is going to be relocated. I already know that. So to get a grant that you have to pay back in 10 years, maybe that might not be the best option for you.
Gotcha.
But my role is to support mortgage sales at BMO. So I support mortgage sales as it relates to anything affordable. So down payment assistance, first mortgage programs that have lower down payment, 3% down, our FHA loans. I work with our operations staff. I work with our underwriters. I work with our closers. I work with our processors. I work with every aspect of BMO as it relates to affordable. I work with our product management team when we're bringing new programs to BMO to vet them to see if it's going to be a good fit for borrowers or not. I get involved with denied files. If there's a denied file with an underwriter, I can step in to review that file to see, let's restructure it a different type of way. Can you pay off something? Can we, you know, maybe get another down payment assistance program that we didn't have when we started this process? If there was an oversight, I'm going to call it an oversight made on the file.
Excited about oversight.
Oversight made on the file, then I can step in to say, you know, let's read that guideline a little differently. Let's reach out to Fannie and Freddie. Fannie and Freddie are typically who banks sell their loans to after closing. Those are the two big agencies. So maybe we need to get a Freddie rep on the phone to interpret what this guideline truly says. Can we do X, Y, Z? So my goal is to make sure, if possible, any loan that comes into the door actually gets to the closing table.
Love it.
So anything in between that, I'm involved in it typically.
Awesome, man. So no wonder Madam Millie wanted to make sure we understood who was on this panel.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
who we invited.
She is.
We invited.
Okay.
appreciate you guys. What order should we go in? Let's just say, financially, we're not all together, but you want to know what steps you want to go. Do you guys know any,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so the order that makes the most sense, the order that you're gonna benefit most from is doing your home buyer education first. In this class, you're gonna be able to, you're gonna have some referrals, some references, or you may have some already identified yourself, but you're gonna get a list of lenders. You're gonna get a list of real estate agents. You're gonna get a list of attorneys. You're gonna walk away with a list of people, basically. So you can start shopping around for your team. Today, you've probably met some people that you want to consider to be a part of your team. So, like I said, we all start somewhere somehow, but I think that education piece is important because as you're talking to me, I may look nice, I may sound like I know what I'm talking about, I may, but you don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing for you.
Correct.
Right. You
Should
just,
she ever have gone over options with me? She said I was this was the program I got. She didn't tell me it was other things. You don't know what the red flags are.
you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know until you don't know it.
Mhm.
You get to learn all that in home buyer education because you have a panel of individuals telling you what you should expect from them.
Mhm.
So I definitely say start at home buyer education.
Okay.
And is there any cost for the home buyer education courses?
So home buyer education is free.
Mhm.
However, there are some agencies that if you receive down payment assistance, they're allowed to take a fee up to $500 from one of your grants.
Oh,
How does one find,
okay.
how does one find a home buyers meeting like that?
HUD.gov. HUD.gov
Mhm.
Will list every HUD approved counseling agency in the United States. You can put in your zip code so you can find one near you. You get a list of agencies. Or if you've met some people, i.e. me, Mary, Jacob, hey, who do you recommend I go to for a HUD approved counseling agency?
Yeah.
Because we work with them very closely. They're
Yes.
also who we refer people to who are not in a place to be approved right now. Their credit's not really great. They have credit counseling classes too.
Right.
So all these free things available to you and they're HUD approved. They're
Love it.
certified to be able to offer you this assistance and advice.
To help
Madam
get you
Fox,
ready.
are there any Realtist members that are trainers for any of these programs?
Yes, Jacob, that's a really good point. There are some Realtist members. And with the HUD.gov, we can find some in our area. I will definitely send a list of
Yes.
everyone who's on the panel. I'll send it to all of the attendees. If they're registered attendees, then they can receive that information.
Great,
Okay,
thank you.
love it.
Great question.
Really good question. So now we know who, you got a question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
There, another question, you talked about that each buyer must have a little skin in the game. Okay, so what type of skin must they have? Can it be the barber, the
Yeah.
hairdresser, the person that's selling on the internet? Do you have to have a job? Can I have a voucher? Can I have, what other sources of income?
Let's talk about it. So voucher screamed at me because a lot of people don't know that if you are on, what do we call it in Chicago? Section 8. I know it's called choosing to own,
Choosing to own,
but
yeah.
Section 8, you are able to convert your rental voucher to a purchase voucher.
You
Section
sure
8
yes.
will pay a portion
I
of
know
your
you know.
mortgage payment for the first 10 years.
10
If
years.
you're able, they will pay a portion for up to 30. This is a program BMO is a part of as well.
Wow.
And then again,
I'm
you
telling you.
own your home instead of
Yes.
walking away
Thank you.
with nothing from rent.
Correct.
Thank you.
Passing the voucher to the kids to rent all over again. No,
Right. It was
turn
the
that
called-
voucher into a
Choose
choosing
to
to
own.
own.
The choose to own.
Choose
Choose
to
to
own.
own, yeah.
We actually just closed a young lady who did have a voucher and she purchased a home. She received $38,000 in down payment assistance
on top of
to
what you
purchase
already-
her home. It was these
It was part of
programs
this
layered,
pro- okay.
38,000.
programs layered
Mhm.
together. If you have an individual getting a voucher from Section 8, their income has to be low in order to even qualify for
Sure.
that.
Mhm.
So this particular borrower's income was it wasn't high enough to purchase anything on her own.
Mhm.
But Section 8 or SHAC or Choose to Own, they all have programs. So it's not like you can just take the voucher, meet with you,
Mhm.
the realtist, to say, I want to buy a home.
Right.
I have this money coming in every month. You have to follow
It's a process.
whatever the process is for
Mhm.
that particular organization. And it is homebuyer education, it is counseling, it is, they want to see that you have the ability to save money.
Mhm.
Because once you become that homeowner, if there are any repairs needed with the home, it's on you.
Mhm.
And the whole goal of getting into a home is sustainability.
Yep.
Exactly.
Don't want you to lose the home.
Mm.
We don't want you to, on paper, you may qualify for $300,000. That's on paper.
Right.
But the reality is you have children, you have other expenses, you have other things that you are responsible for. So although on paper you can afford that $300,000 home, is that the right thing for you?
Right.
Because you don't want to be mortgage poor. And that is a real factor
Yes, it is.
of
Mhm.
being mortgage poor
In our community.
in our community, because when the 2008 hit, where did it hit most? In our community, it hit most.
Right.
You mentioned something about the hairdressers and the
Income
barbers. Those are
documentation.
typically cash business borrowers.
Got to put
Can
them
they
in the
get a
bank.
home? Absolutely. You can use those funds, but it has to be documented.
Got to put it in the bank.
And when you are purchasing a home and you go to a tax accountant to do those taxes, we can only use income that you pay taxes on.
True.
So at the end of the day, if your gross was 100,000, but you only pay taxes on 20,000, 20,000 is what we use to qualify you.
So for someone like that, you might want to talk to your broker more than 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
Be a year or
Before
two
you do
in
your taxes, let's go.
Yes,
love it.
absolutely, because, but I make all this money. Well, my conversation is how much in taxes are you, right? How much is being taxed by Uncle Sam, by the IRS?
Got it.
And that is the bottom number.
I love the way you broke that down, how much you're being taxed by,
Right.
not all of the expenses that you have written off. No,
True.
you've made 100,000, but you're being taxed on 20,000. This is the amount that you will be pre-approved for based off the 20,000, not the 100,000.
No,
Let's
not the
keep in
100,000.
mind, a regular W-2 person that gets a paycheck stub, the income they count for me is the money I pay taxes on. We have to treat you the same way as a business
I
owner.
love it. We got one other question.
In that same vein, that's the entrepreneurial person, which that hairdresser is as well. Getting them to understand just what you said is a little twist on it, because when we are talking, because I help people do stuff, we talk about it, but we have to express to them, yes, we teach them to get expenses, to write them off and things such as that, but we also tell them, you have to make sure that the money is documented.
Yes.
I've had to create a spreadsheet where they had money in several accounts, and we teach them how to do that as well, making sure you have your bill account and have your savings account and have your other money account, fund
So is
money
this the
account.
budget or the profit and loss?
All of that,
Okay.
all of that.
Okay.
Because they had different accounts for everything, just to keep it not commingling it, the business and the
Correct.
personal.
Mhm.
Right?
And then you have to bring it all together some kind of way so that we can, when we pass it along, that it's sensible. It makes sense.
Okay.
So that is very important, but I like the way that you put it, is that, it's the money that you're taxed on. So even if you took all your expenses, as we teach,
Right.
so that you pay less in taxes.
Right.
You're only gonna get approved off of the taxable amount.
I love it.
So
Okay.
you always have to remember that whenever you're purchasing a home, you have an underwriter that has to approve that loan. What you're doing is you're painting a picture. Your file is a picture for the underwriter. And we want to make sure that all the T's are dotted and all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Yep.
Because we don't want that underwriter to have to wonder about anything. We want them to look at those expenses.
Mhm,
Okay, this makes sense.
Mhm.
This is a cash business.
mhm.
We have a lot of cash deposits, but this is a cash business. It makes sense. Do all those deposits equal up to an average of what is on these tax returns? Because there are no pay stubs,
Right.
it's only tax
Same thing.
returns.
Mhm.
And when you're doing your taxes, you need the Schedule C.
Mhm.
You
Gotcha.
can't give, and we used to have, well, why do you need to see my Schedule C? Okay, because that's your business. That is,
That's your
shows
check stub.
me, exactly, that is your check stub
Mhm.
for a underwriter. So you have to paint a picture, and that's why it's important to have the conversation. And don't leave things out,
Mm.
because
I'm the
they're
filter.
going to come out, and we do not want them to come out a couple days before closing.
No.
When you're
That's a
choosing
good
your
life.
team, choose a team you can trust
Exactly.
and tell them everything.
Yeah.
Tell me everything.
Please, please.
Even the stuff you're wondering, should you tell me?
Yes.
It's my job to make sure that
Mhm.
I'm presenting this in the right way. Because
Yes.
what Tina talked about is if the underwriter has drawn a conclusion because we didn't approach that subject,
Mhm.
now we gotta get that conclusion out of his head. We
Mhm.
can't just explain it now.
Those
Now
are
we gotta
things
do a
They
whole
can't
bunch of
unsee
stuff.
what they've
They
seen.
can't unsee.
Exactly, yeah.
I love
So
it.
your lender, your loan officer, I should say, me, I am super, super important because it's my job to see everything and put it together properly.
Love it. Thank you. So we have been to the
Yeah.
real estate broker, we've been to the lender, we have been through Tina's role. It's a very important role, okay? You want to make sure that the deal continues to move on and it's not a dead deal. Now we're coming back to the real estate agent, and then we are under contract. We're going over to Jacob. So Jacob, now we're under contract. The home inspection has been completed.
Well, usually even before the home inspection's been completed,
Mhm.
we're still in the attorney modification period.
Yes, what is
You-
that? What is the attorney modification period?
So just like you have 5 days or 10 days to inspect the property and make
Mhm.
sure that it's in the condition that it needs to be for you to be able to move in there safely.
Yep.
If it's not, you're given some time to get out of the deal.
Mhm.
Likewise, the attorney modification period is usually 5 days. That gives you and your team, including your attorney, time to look at the contract and make sure that the contract is fair and equitable and that it's not going to put you in trouble later.
Got it.
And so, for example, that money that you put up for your earnest money, your $1,000 or however much it is,
Yep.
usually that's not final. You can get that back during the inspection time. You can get that back during the attorney modification period.
So what about after? It's some contingencies in this contract, right? What
Yes.
are these contingencies that my attorney needs to make sure that you covering my earnest money, you holding it close to you, and that's your sole purpose, in
Right.
addition to any other legalities. But what are the contingencies in the contract
So,
that make sure that I'm fine?
so one of the examples is that earnest money. It's not, you're not giving it to the owner, to the seller to hold on to.
Right.
You're giving it to one of the brokers or one of the attorneys to hold on to that money.
Okay.
And the attorney that you hire is going to help you go over with your broker the inspection items.
Okay.
They're gonna go over, make sure that the person that's selling you the property actually owns the property.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And if they don't own the property, they're not gonna let you buy it, and they're gonna ask for your earnest money back.
Gotcha.
If the loan falls through, usually you're given a little bit extra time to be able to get the loan to get all the Ts crossed and all the Is dotted.
Right.
And if it's not done by the time that you say in the contract, that might be 30 days or might be 45 days. Or if you've done all of your homework, it might be really soon.
Okay.
You can get your earnest money back. You can end the contract or ask for an extension for a little bit more time.
Okay. And
Those are
what
some
about-
examples.
What about the appraisal contingency?
Another example is one of the things that the underwriters are going to want to look at is that if you buy a $300,000 house, that it's worth $300,000. If it comes back and the appraiser says, no, compared to all of the other properties that have sold recently,
Yep.
this property is only worth $250,000.
Okay.
Usually there's time as part of the mortgage contingency
Okay.
to get out of this deal. Or if you have an extra $50,000 and you still want the property, even though you're paying a little extra for it,
Yeah.
that's a conversation you could have with your team Because if it's the perfect house,
Yeah.
you might want to do it anyway.
Okay, okay. But I appreciate you for sharing the 3 contingencies usually that go in the contract. Once we get to the attorney, it's your job to make sure that everything looks good. Now, then the property, what if it doesn't come in at value, right? So now we have to go back and renegotiate.
So for example, if you have a $300,000 contract
Mhm.
and it's a crazy thought that, but maybe let's say it comes back at $250,000.
Right,
You can kill the deal. That's option at the bottom.
okay,
You can say, I'm going forward, I'm gonna pay $300,000 for it anyway,
Right.
and I've got extra money to do that. Or you could talk to the other side and say, hey, I still like to buy the property.
Yes.
I can't pay $300,000 for
Okay.
it. Can we find somewhere in the middle?
so we want to win-win on both sides, because
Right.
just as bad wants to purchase it, the seller wants to sell it. But
Right.
it has to make sense on all ends.
And if you drop out, then you have to put it back on the market. You
Right.
Start right from scratch. And it has to be a conversation.
Got it. So we got the inspection completed, the appraisal has been done. In the interim, what's going on with the file? Like, are we just chilling? Like, what's happening with
not
the file?
At this point, after
Figure
the
it out.
attorney modification period, these are the guys that are heavy lifting.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's going on with the file?
So you've been pre-approved with me. You found your house. You've
Yep.
gotten your inspection. You've done all those things. Now it's Tiara. They say I got 30 days to get my loan. Okay, let's collect some paperwork if we haven't already, or if we need to update some paperwork. Sometimes some things expire from the time you were approved to the time you found out.
Mhm.
So we're updating income, we're updating assets, we're doing all those things. We're also placing those third-party orders, that appraisal, we're ordering title, we are ordering employee, your verification of income.
Okay.
We're doing all these things while your file is sitting and waiting for underwriter, usually about 24, 48 hours. But the underwriter is going to review what we have already. The underwriter is going to say, hey, here's an approval. We have some conditions in order to get it closed. So you get an approval with conditions. One of the conditions being, hey, we need that appraisal back. We haven't gotten it yet.
Okay.
So conditional upon the property appraising out. One of the other conditions is, finalizing your insurance policy.
Got it.
So you got me a quote up front. We didn't want you to have to go and finalize insurance and we didn't know how the inspection would go.
Correct.
So some of the things we're just finalizing. That's what your condition should be if you got a good loan officer. But yes, all the heavy lifting, we're doing third-party orders and we're also collecting your documents that the underwriter needs to see.
Got
So
it.
it's important for you to stay involved as well.
Yes.
Because if you don't get back the things that Tiara needs, that's gonna slow down the
Cause a
ship.
delay. It's
Yep.
gonna cause a delay.
Yep.
And we don't want the delays.
You want to typically be able to provide what is requested of you within 24 to 48 hours. I love the same day people, but
I know. But some of the buyers come back and say, oh my goodness, I've already submitted this paperwork over to my loan officer, my lender. They keep asking for the same thing back and forth all over again. What is that like? Y'all losing the stock?
So if this is your lender not being clear, something may have been wrong
Got
with
it.
that bank statement you provided me. So you're getting a conditional approval that says provide June's bank statement.
Love
And you know you gave it to me.
Okay.
This is why your loan officer is important. What you didn't realize is you was missing page 5 of that bank statement.
Right.
All you see is we need your bank statement and you provided it, but your loan officer should have communicated to you what was wrong with it.
Okay.
I'm sure there are some instances where somebody lost them. That's not me.
Okay.
But that's why I say it's very important, that relationship you build up front, that getting to know you phase.
Yep.
You're gonna know, okay, Tiara's gonna be real thorough with me. She's gonna go over this and that. You're gonna have a really good understanding of what I need. I'm gonna be very clear because like I said, I do like for things to be provided to me within 24 to 48 hours. We are closing on time, okay?
I love it. In that time frame, in that interim, do you have the conversation with the agent? Because you're checking in with them.
Absolutely.
Once or twice a week, just to make sure that they're getting the documents over to the loan officer, and have a conversation with the attorney if need be.
I'm checking in with everybody.
Okay,
You
but
don't have to. So
Right.
my process is if we're at a 30 to 45 day closing window, you get an update every Friday morning.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
If
love
we
it.
have a closing, less than 30 days, you're getting an update twice a week. And it
Okay.
comes to everybody, it comes to the agents, comes to the attorneys. So nobody's left wondering what's
What's
going on.
going on?
So everyone
Yeah.
who's a part of the process gets this update on Friday.
So you say nobody gotta chase you, is that what you're saying?
I
They don't call me.
I love
We
it.
don't have a reason to, that's my job.
Yeah.
To make
Exactly.
sure everybody is on the same page, to keep everything moving together. I know you feel like that's your job.
That's all of our job.
No, that's huge, because you hear sometimes people do not return calls.
That's right. And they're not
Okay,
responsive.
And
and then
that's the key to a good
Yes.
team, good
a
communication.
good team, yes, exactly. So she's giving it to you. You don't have to chase her. She's gonna provide it for you. But again,
And
if you
that's
have a
amazing.
question, then you can still reach out to her. It's
That's
not-
That's everybody's dream. The
Thank you.
attorney, the realtor, everybody know what's
The
going on.
realtors, yep.
So
The
nobody's
realtor.
sending
Mhm.
what's update, what's
I
going
like
on,
how
you
you
know?
did that correction.
So now we through the process, we got the appraisal, we going back, we had a conversation with the agent, the loan officer is moving things right on along. Now we're waiting on the clear to close. We're waiting on this clear to close. This is the big, oh my goodness, all on social media, we got CTC clear to close. What is that exactly? I thought it was pre-approved for the money already. What is this clear to
That
close?
is the underwriter saying, hey, when I gave you that conditional approval,
Yeah,
you've met all the conditions. Now you're just strictly approved. You are clear to close.
got it.
Mhm.
So when we get the clear to close, now the real estate professional gets excited because you gotta go back to that property and do something.
That's right. We're gonna go back to the property. We're gonna do what's called a final walkthrough, and we're gonna ensure that everything we requested,
Mhm.
if we requested anything during an attorney review, has been done.
Okay.
And we also want to make sure the house is in sound condition and nothing different
Right.
has transpired.
Even
Since
if
the
we
last
didn't
time we
ask
saw it.
for anything.
Right.
And
We
animal
want to make sure
mother
that
stuff,
basement
yeah.
didn't flood while we were in the process. So it's just taking another look at the property, making sure everything is as it should be before we go ahead and move forward with it.
Right before that.
Okay.
Right, yeah, I
Right.
want, yeah, it's a couple, one, I want
Right.
to go backwards just a little
Mhm.
bit.
Go for it.
Because I know that a lot of realtors, Tierra can call you, we have it clear to close, okay, it's Monday, I want to close tomorrow. I want to close.
That's
There
not how
are
it works.
rules in place.
Yes.
That once you have that clear to close, and I'm gonna take it a step backward. Once the underwriter gives the clear to close, that file still hasn't cleared technically everything.
Okay.
Because at BMO, there could be a DTI review, just to make sure that the
Oh, okay.
DTI
DTI,
stands for.
Yeah.
debt to income ratio,
Okay.
just to make sure that everything was done properly. If they have MI or mortgage insurance or
Okay.
private mortgage insurance, that is not the lender giving it, it's another company giving that private
Mhm.
mortgage insurance.
Okay.
And it has to go, and we have to get what's called a certification. When that, we cannot get that certification or MI certification until all the numbers are set in stone.
Got it.
The loan amount, the purchase price, the loan amount, the MI coverage, the debt, everything has to be set in stone before we can send it over to the MI company.
Okay.
And typically that turn time is about 24 hours. If they're extremely busy, it can be 48 hours.
Okay.
So typically we have 3 days from the time that we have that clear to close
Mhm.
that you can actually close, because we have to get that CD or closing disclosure together.
Yep.
This closing disclosure is the document that lists all the fees associated with the loan. That borrower has to acknowledge it, because they have 3 days to say, I'm not in agreement with these figures and I'm not gonna close now.
Gotcha.
That is law.
Mhm.
It's law that we have to do it. So there is no way we get the clear to close on Monday and you close on Tuesday.
Got it.
It will never happen. And that's not just with BMO, that's with any
Anybody.
lender.
That's 3 days.
And even the
trend.
the title company won't be able to get you in tomorrow. And we still have to work out the different prorations. And so there's still numbers to figure out. So it takes a little bit of time from clear to close to actual close.
We got something, Millie.
I just want to add, please, even when you get that clear to close, please don't go buy anything.
No,
Okay.
about nothing.
Don't buy anything until you actually close and have it in your hand, because again, you need the keys first. Many times they'll take a look again at the credit report, see if it's anything been charged. So please don't buy furniture for a house you don't own yet.
That's right.
Wait till you close and
That's
then buy
right.
whatever you want. Okay.
Yep, we
That's good
got
advice.
some conversation in the back over here. with Tiara. Okay.
It's important that once you get the clear to close, that you just check with your lender when you can close.
Gotcha.
Your attorney will.
Yes.
know.
Okay,
Yes.
we had a question over here.
Few things. I got two questions. I know that where I work at, in the area I deliver in, it's I guess competitors. I don't know if it's another Canadian bank or whatever. What is it?
CIBC?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, is it that y'all just got a whole bunch of money from the Canadian government to lend out? And the home buyers classes. Okay, so can we get a list of it? Because I'm an ultimate procrastinator. I had a deal together a few years ago, and I had such the hardest time with getting employment verification. It was through guaranteed rate.
Okay,
It was just.
but you know what? That's a conversation to have with Tiara offline.
Yeah.
A personal one-on-one conversation, because she is a rock star with putting these deals and stuff together.
Maybe, like I said, maybe Tiara can tell me what to do. I'll
Yeah.
let her run my credit and she can tell me some things.
Sounds good.
To apply that to income ratio.
Okay.
And dear Tiara.
I'm Tiara.
We getting ready to wrap it up, but this was so good.
It was. Can I add one thing
Please,
before, because
Bill.
I know we short on time,
Uh-huh.
but again, so excited that we have, and we're talking about NARAB and BMO, and with Dearborn, has put together a down payment assistance program. Okay, it is for HBCU or PBIs, predominantly Black institutions, okay, for home buyer assistance. So $6,000 is available. It's a grant that's forgiven. Okay, we can pair it with other grants here.
Okay.
So as long as you are a graduate from HBCU or the PBIs in our area, will be Malcolm X, Chicago State, Olive Harvey, Kennedy King, and then also in the suburbs, Prairie State and South Suburban College.
Got it.
Okay, they must be paired with the realtist in order to get this grant.
Got it.
So again, if your agent is a realtist and you have graduated from an HBCU or a PBI, you may be able to qualify for an additional $6,000 in closing costs. So that's something, yes, we're getting ready to launch this. We just launched it last month, so you'll hear more about it. Again, you can reach out to us and Tiara, she's available for that, and we're getting ready to take this to convention.
Suppose they graduated 20 years.
Don't
ago.
matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter when they graduate.
Wow.
Just that you graduated,
Nice.
okay?
Do
So,
we have
yes.
any questions in the chat?
I did not see any,
Nothing.
but
That
double
means
check.
we did a fantastic job with it.
Thank you so much,
But you
everyone.
know what? This is a series. This is not a
Right.
one and done. So we have another home buyer financial literacy workshop coming up August 9th with BMO.
Mhm.
If you love this, share this information with your family and friends so that you can be at our next workshop, August 9th.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Boston.
Oh, no
Thank you,
problem.
everybody.
All right, see you guys.
Bye. Hope you have fun like we did.
Let's get on each other's.
I gave you
calendars.
this for your present, right?
Right, let me, because we're leaving, I'm leaving.
Okay.
Monday. Okay.